Let's face it, last year of 2020 was terrible for anything gaming, and especially during the summer months where normally we get the big E3 digital events from all the companies, and even some companies with stage presentations. But none of that happened. In fact, it was just a sloppy year. But it is safe to say officially that E3 is back in 2021, and it's all going to be digitally and all for free, of course. And on top of that, Nintendo did confirm that they were going to have a show presence, and that there was going to be some surprises and some good things coming. At least that's what Doug Bowser said, but we'll get into that in a second. But yes, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to the channel. E3 is back in season, and Nintendo is going to show up with a big direct once again. But of course, without getting into super specific predictions right now, because we're only in April, we are going to start talking about exactly what Nintendo can do to have a bomber of an E3, and how their last direct, which if you liked it or not, was not as big as we would hope after waiting a year and a half for a Nintendo Direct. So what is coming from the big N at Nintendo's E3 presentation this year? Well, before we get started, I want to stop and thank the channel members. If you want to become a channel member, it's extremely simple and extremely cheap. For about $2 a month, you can have tons of chat emojis and all types of loyalty badges. So stop what you're doing, check it out. It's right beside the subscribe button. Click on join and see all the perks in front of you. And if you feel like you want to join the Nin10doland Nintendo Stars perks, feel free to do so. So how I always like to start off these predictions and kind of thought videos is, what do we already know? You know, Nintendo loves to jump on things that we already know that are coming. So the first thing I want to get out the way is I don't even know if Pokemon's going to appear here at all. You know, Nintendo loves to do things separate from Pokemon, and Pokemon has their own presentations for, you know, whatever games that they want to talk about before E3 even happens. So my predictions is anything regarding the new Pokemon games, such as Pokemon Arceus in the Gen 4 remake. I really don't know if that's going to happen during Nintendo's own E3. But let's get into Nintendo's things that we already know. Of course, we know Mario Golf Super Rush is coming during the E3 month of June, and followed by The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD coming in July. Now, how much could they actually touch on this? They're going to be shown for sure, but I don't think it's going to be a lot of time. It might even be in its own little scissor reel, because there's no real reason to kind of show off these games in full detail. Maybe Mario Golf, but definitely not Skyward Sword. They already showed how the controls are going to work and what's going to be new, if anything's going to be new, and the updated graphics, but I think that's really it when it comes to those two games, because once again, one is just a Mario sports game, and one is an old Wii port. So at the end of the day, there's no need to touch on those things. There's no need to kind of go into full detail over games that really don't have a huge market for right now. And trust me, I love Skyward Sword myself, but it is a port. I know it's a remake technically, but I mean, look at the game. It's a port. Even though it could be still a ways out for both of these games, more, you know, for Metroid, but we know that Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild sequel is coming. We know this is happening, and we know it's coming in the future, so we could finally get some information on that. In fact, Metroid has gone through 800 days of development since they've restarted, so I'm sure there's something that they can put on the table and something that they can give the fans to get them excited, even if they just talk about some Prime Trilogy stuff, or maybe even like a new 2D Metroid that they've been working on for now. Maybe we'll get a glimpse or a glimmer of something Metroid Prime 4 related. And as far as Breath of the Wild 2, I think this is the first one we're going to start off with as our big game that we talk about. I think a big chunk of this direct is actually going to focus on Breath of the Wild 2. I could be wrong, but I really think it will. And if it's not here, at least we'll get a trailer here and maybe its own special direct later on down the road. But I think we're going to get something related to Breath of the Wild 2. And in fact, I would be completely stunned if we didn't get any information on this next Zelda game. I think it's finally time. They keep saying wait a little bit longer, wait a bit longer. Aonuma has been teasing us over and over and over again, and it's going to be finally time. And it might even have something to tie into Zelda's 35th anniversary plans whenever Nintendo's going to announce that, and that might even be after E3. So I could very well just see a simple trailer and then no other information until that direct happens for Zelda's anniversary. But I would expect Breath of the Wild 2 here, along with maybe even the announcement of this Switch Pro. We know there's been rumors going back and forth about a Switch Pro. We don't know anything about it besides it might be 4K on the TV, and it's going to have like a new special dock and stuff, but it's going to be time to probably reveal that very soon, because if this is going to be a holiday release, Nintendo's got to get that, you know, hype out. They got to show the console, show what it's going to do, show the perks of, why someone would want a newer console, a newer Switch, and just show, maybe a game running on it, and what better game to have running on a brand new 4K console than Breath of the Wild 2. And that could very well be something that they show off at E3, as they never really show hardware off during an E3 presentation. However, there's a new time for everything. Nintendo's on new grounds here. Now, as far as Splatoon 3 goes, I don't think we're going to get any information. When Nintendo does reveal games for the next year, the only reason they do so is to show off one trailer. They don't go in depth about the game until it's closer to time. And we've already gotten this trailer. I don't see Nintendo really going into depth about a game that's not even coming until 2022. And it might even be like middle to late 2022. So I don't think this actually gets touched on at all here. Nintendo loves to show the first initial trailer and not talk about the game again for like a year. Nintendo loves doing things like that, and I don't think we're gonna get any Splatoon information, which is fine. I don't think we need anything unless there is one gigantic game mode that they must talk about and must show ahead of time, like, I don't know, a Splatoon Battle Royale or something, I don't know. But if there's nothing like that, there's no reason to really show anything at E3. Maybe a quick story trailer of what the story and gameplay is gonna look like, but I just really doubt them going into depth about a game that's not even coming out until, the next year, and it could even be late next year, so over a year until the game drops. And that just doesn't seem smart to talk about that game. Instead, focus on games that's coming in that holiday season and early next year. Alright, let's talk about what could be new. What new things could Nintendo show off, and what have we been waiting for, and what does it seem like we've been waiting on for a long time? Well, the first thing is obvious, and it's been all over Twitter and everywhere you look online: Mario Kart 9. People are screaming for the next Mario Kart. We've been playing this game for too long now. It's Mario Kart 8 for the last, it feels like 10 years this game has been out. It's time for the next installment of Mario Kart. I know that they're working on it. Lots of people are expecting it to be some type of big Nintendo Kart thing where other IPs come into the fray. But I really don't know if this is going to be shown here. I hope it is. And if it is shown here, I would expect it to be like the big holiday game this year. But then that takes Breath of the Wild 2 out the question. But either way, both of these games would be monumental. I mean, people really have been clamoring and asking for a Mario Kart 9 for so long now, and it feels like it's on the cusp, though. It feels like we're almost there. It's in reach, we just gotta reach out for it. But trust me when I say a Mario Kart 9 would definitely break the internet, especially when you have a scene of Kirby driving a cart. I also don't think it's too far-fetched to say that Mario could have another big game announced for probably next year. We are all kind of expecting a Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever the next big 3D Mario game is, and I think it could be announced here. It seems as if Nintendo is trying to recycle and repeat what they did in 2017 to start to switch life cycles, such as a brand new Zelda game being Breath of the Wild. Now they're doing Breath of the Wild 2, and same with Splatoon 2. Now they're doing Splatoon 3, and Mario obviously needs to have another game on the Switch. It just makes sense. And as far as everything else, we could get anything, really. There could be some type of Pikmin tease for a new Pikmin game. We know we're getting that mobile app. Probably not happening, but we could get another style of Metroid game. Anything is possible. Even Donkey Kong, because technically it's Donkey Kong's anniversary as well, so we could get something from him too. But the last one I want to kind of touch on is the Kirby game that has been worked on for a while. Apparently this Kirby game was even mentioned by HAL Labs to be the pinnacle and peak of the series, and we still haven't seen anything about it yet. And I think most people are expecting this to be a big 3D Kirby adventure, and what perfect time to reveal that than E3. It seems like Nintendo loves to reveal things with Kirby at E3. They revealed Star Allies at E3 before, and they've done a lot of things like that. And I think Kirby just feels right. It's a perfect game to have, and I don't know if it's going to be, set for next year or the fall this year, or maybe even could be a holiday game this year if it's big enough, but I do think it's going to be that big 3D Kirby, and I can't wait to see what Nintendo's going to do with it. But as far as big games go and big announcements, that's it. Oh, wait, I actually forgot one more.
Hi, everyone. My name's Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl.
No, but that's really about it. Hopefully Nintendo doesn't flush the Direct with a whole bunch of smaller titles and small games from other third-party developers that no one really cares about right now, and really focuses on some of their own first-party IPs that they really need to focus on right now. Of course, there's other stuff I didn't touch on in this video, such as Smash characters. We can pretty much assume there's going to be one or maybe even both of the last two characters revealed here, so we can expect that. But that's the general gist of what we can probably get our eyes to look at around this Nintendo Direct. Now, I'm not going to say don't be hype, don't lower your expectations because Nintendo hasn't came through recently. it could be very fascinating. It could be very fun. You know, even Doug Bowser came out on Twitter and said this is going to be a fun time. They're going to make it as interactive as possible. So I'm sure there's going to be some fun surprises in there as well. So I can't wait to see what's to come. But I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you want to see from this year's E3 presentation from Nintendo? Do you think it's going to be something huge? Do you think it's going to be something small? Do you think it's just going to be something to tie us over? Has Nintendo been dry for a long time and finally they're going to come out and do some big things? We will see. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like always, make sure that you are subscribed and like the video if you enjoy to stay up to date on all things Nintendo all the time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.